Welcome to the Eerie Hour. Some places don't just haunt you, they wait. This house, this space that holds warmth against the creeping chill of the outside world, knows secrets the plaster and floorboards keep close. It hums with a low, resonant frequency just beneath the edge of hearing, a subtle tremor against the solid foundation of what you believe to be real. The air itself seems to hold its breath, thick with the dust of forgotten moments and the potential for something unseen to shift into view. We listen closely here for the whispers in the static, the shapes in the periphery, the truth reflected in still water. This is where the veil is thin and where the ordinary unravels. If you enjoy descending into the strange and the forgotten, don't forget to like and subscribe, and share your theories below. Now, let's begin. But remember, once the story starts, something always follows. The warmth of the shower wraps around you, a comforting shroud against the sharp edges of the morning. Water drums a steady rhythm against the tile, a familiar, soothing sound that usually drowns out the world. Steam blooms, softening the harsh lines of the small room, turning the air into a milky haze. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the heat soak into tired muscles. And then it comes, a sound not of water, not of plumbing strain, but something else. A low gurgle, deeper than any drain noise you've heard before. A sound that feels wrong. It's just the house breathing. But the sound returns, a wet, sucking noise from somewhere beneath your feet, persistent and unnerving. It feels like a throat clearing, deep underground. You shift, suddenly aware of the water swirling around your ankles, the drain now seeming like a dark, hungry mouth. Your gaze drifts to the steamy mirror above the sink. For a split second, the space behind your reflection feels clearer, deeper, and something dark flickers in the perceived distance. It's gone before you can process it, just the smooth, fogged glass remaining. A shiver unrelated to the steam prickles your skin. The comforting sound of the water now seems loud, almost frantic, trying to mask the unsettling quiet that falls when the gurgle pauses. That fleeting glimpse in the mirror feels like a trick of the light, a tired mind playing games. But the unease has lodged itself in your chest, a cold knot tightening with each strange sound from the drain. You finish quickly, the warm spray no longer comforting, but isolating. You step out, the sudden clarity of the air feeling almost harsh. The mirror is still steamed over, but the image you saw persists in your mind, a dark, unblinking possibility lurking just beyond the surface. Is that all it was? A trick of the steam? Or did something look back from the other side of the glass? The question hangs in the suddenly cold air, a subtle fracture in the morning's routine. Outside the bathroom, the silence is heavier than it should be. The gurgling sound is gone, but a new stillness permeates the air, a quiet that listens. You walk into the hallway, drying your hair, and catch a glimpse of yourself in the large, ornate mirror that hangs near the staircase. Your reflection is there, solid and clear. But for a moment, you have the distinct impression it is a split second slower than you are, a lagging echo in the glass. You stop, testing the theory, lifting a hand slowly. The reflection matches perfectly, instantly. You shake your head, attributing it to fatigue, to the lingering unease from the shower. Yet the cold knot in your chest remains, pulsing faintly. The house feels different now, subtly off-key. A faint, metallic tang hangs in the air, like old pennies or rust, clinging to the back of your throat. It wasn't there before the shower. Every surface, every reflective object, the polished wood table, the dark screen of the television, the glass panes of the framed pictures, seems to catch your eye, drawing your gaze, offering fleeting, distorted glimpses of the room. In the surface of the dark television, you see a shadow detached from your own, longer, thinner. It moves slightly before you blink, and it's gone. Just the faint, dust-coated screen staring back. A new sound emerges, faint but persistent. A rhythmic tapping, like a fingernail gently clicking against glass. It seems to come from downstairs, near the front door. Your initial instinct is to investigate, to find the source and dispel the growing sense of the uncanny. But another part, a colder, more cautious part, hesitates. This isn't a natural sound of the house. It's deliberate, almost inviting. The tapping continues, steady, hypnotic. It draws you down the stairs, each step creaking underfoot, amplifying the strange quiet of the house. You pause at the bottom, listening. The sound stops. Silence answers. You look at the small mirror by the front door, checking your appearance almost instinctively. Your reflection stares back, eyes wide with a fear you didn't realize was so visible on your face. But is it your reflection, or is it just looking like you? The thought lodges itself, unwelcome and sharp. The tapping doesn't return, but the silence it leaves behind is brittle, charged with expectation. The metallic scent persists, stronger now, like a coppery breath on the air. You stand by the front door, the small mirror's surface cool under your fingertips. The reflection stares, its expression mirroring your own uncertainty, your growing paranoia. You step away quickly, the thought of your double watching you from within the glass unsettling. You move into the living room, the space feeling vast and echoing. The large picture window overlooking the street becomes another reflective surface, mirroring the room and a distorted version of yourself standing within it. You catch sight of something in the window's reflection behind you, a shape, hunched low to the ground near the sofa. You spin around, heart pounding, but there is nothing. You turn back to the window, your reflection showing only the empty room. But the memory of the shape is vivid, a dark mass that seemed to absorb the light. It wasn't a trick of the light this time, it was something seen. This constant vigilance, this scanning of every surface for anomalies, is exhausting. It feels like a splinter has been driven into your perception, forcing you to see two versions of reality, the solid, tangible one, and the one hinted at in every reflection. The line between observation and delusion blurs. Am I seeing things because they are there, or because I'm afraid they are? The thought is a dizzying spiral. You walk over to the antique cabinet with glass doors, its surface reflecting the room in fragmented pieces. As you approach, the air around it feels colder, the metallic smell more pungent. In one of the small glass panes, a face flickers, not yours. It's pale, indistinct, pressing against the glass from the inside. A gasp catches in your throat. You stumble back, the glass cabinet now feeling like a cage holding something trapped, or something waiting to get out. The face is gone, leaving only your own terrified reflection staring back from the fragmented surfaces. The memory of the face in the cabinet glass is a cold weight in your stomach. It was not a trick of the light, not a distortion of mist. It was a specific shape, a certain pallor, seen clearly for a fraction of a second. The uncanny events are escalating, moving beyond subtle suggestions to overt appearances in the reflective surfaces that now seem to populate the house like silent, watchful eyes. You find yourself avoiding mirrors, windows, even the polished chrome of the toaster. Each glance carries the risk of seeing something that isn't there, or rather, seeing something that is there but shouldn't be. The metallic scent is now constant, clinging to clothes, to skin. A pervasive reminder of the anomaly. You try to distract yourself, to return to the mundane tasks of living, but the effort feels futile. The house hums with a low, unnatural energy, a tension that pulls at your nerves. The tapping returns, louder this time, coming from the wall behind you. It's erratic, uneven, like frantic scratching. You whip around, but the wall is solid. Nothing there. Then you see it in the surface of a nearby framed photograph with a glass cover. Your reflection, standing rigid, staring at the wall behind you, but its eyes are wide, fixed on something you cannot see in the physical space. The reflection in the photo seems to recoil slightly, a subtle flinch. This dissonance between what you physically perceive and what you see in reflections is breaking your hold on reality. Is the wall truly empty? Or is something clawing at it, visible only through a secondary medium? The psychological fracture is widening into a chasm. You feel a rising tide of panic, a desperate need to understand or escape. But the tapping, the scent, the distorted reflections, they are everywhere. You look down at your phone screen, dark and reflective in your hand. Your face stares back, but something is different about the mouth. It's open wider than yours, curved into a silent, unnatural scream. You drop the phone as if burned. It clatters on the floor, screen facing down, hiding the image. The room is silent again, save for the sound of your own ragged breathing. Was the scream real, or was it a projection of your own building terror onto the indifferent glass? The air feels heavy, suffocating, thick with the coppery scent that now seems to pulse faintly, mirroring your own accelerated heartbeat. You can still see the image on the phone screen in your mind, the distorted, screaming mouth on your reflection's face. The memory is a physical ache in your jaw. Avoiding reflective surfaces is impossible. They are ubiquitous, catching your eye in unexpected places, offering terrifying glimpses into the unseen reality that seems to be pressing in on all sides. You find yourself drawn back to the hallway mirror near the stairs. Compelled by a morbid curiosity you can no longer suppress. Standing before it, you force yourself to look, really look, into your reflection's eyes. They meet yours, dilated with fear. But then, slowly, the reflection begins to change. The features remain yours, but the expression shifts. The fear fades, replaced by something cold, expectant, and utterly alien. A thin smile stretches the reflection's lips, a smile that doesn't reach the eyes, and then its head tilts, slightly, unnaturally, as if studying you. It raises a hand, not mirroring your movement, but reaching towards the surface of the glass. Its fingers pressing against the boundary between worlds. A soft, wet sound accompanies this, like the gurgle from the drain, but coming from within the mirror itself. The surface ripples faintly where the reflection's fingers touch it, like disturbingly still water. The psychological fracture is complete. This is not delusion. This is something real, something interacting. Your own body feels frozen, a statue of terror, while the reflection acts with chilling deliberation. Its eyes, still fixed on yours, convey a sense of immense, ancient patience and a hunger that turns your blood to ice. It speaks, or perhaps the sound originates within your own mind, a voice that echoes the metallic scent, a whisper, clear and resonant, seeming to come from just behind your ear, yet undeniably from the reflection's lips. Come closer. The boundary feels permeable, the glass no longer a solid barrier, but a thin, shimmering veil. What waits on the other side? Or more terrifyingly, what has already crossed over? The whisper echoes in the hollow spaces of your mind, a sound that resonates with the metallic tang in the air. The reflection in the hallway mirror is still there, its smile unnaturally wide, its eyes holding that ancient, expectant look. Its hand remains pressed against the glass, the surface rippling faintly, invitingly. The barrier feels thin, yielding, like pressing against warm wax. This is the culmination of the strange sounds, the flickering shapes, the disembodied tapping. The anomaly has solidified, taken a visible, interactive form within the very surfaces that show you to yourself. The reflection is not just a picture, it is an entity, connected to this place, using the mirrors as gateways or windows. A surge of adrenaline, a primal flight response, screams at you to run, to break the glass, to extinguish every reflective surface in the house. But another impulse, morbid and dark, holds you captive. The ambiguity that has been the source of the horror now resolves into a terrible clarity. It is real, and it wants something. The reflection's smile widens further, its head tilting again, a movement too sharp, too mechanical to be human. It gestures with its free hand, beckoning you closer. You feel an inexplicable pull, a magnetic force emanating from the mirror, drawing you forward despite the screaming terror. Your feet shuffle involuntarily on the wooden floorboards. As you draw nearer, the reflection's features sharpen, becoming terrifyingly queer, detailed in a way a mere reflection should not be. You see the texture of its skin, the unnatural stillness of its pupils. The coppery scent intensifies, making you feel lightheaded. You reach out, your own hand shaking, towards the glass. The reflection's eyes flick down to your hand, then back up to your face, a predatory gleam in their depth. Just as your fingertips are about to touch the cool surface, a final, violent sound erupts. Not the gurgle, not the tapping, but a deafening shatter of glass from somewhere upstairs. The abrupt noise breaks the spell. You recoil from the mirror as if electrocuted, the connection severed by the sudden violence elsewhere in the house. The reflection snaps back to being merely a reflection, its features your own, albeit contorted with shock and residual fear. The smile. The tilt of the head, the beckoning hand, gone. Only the faint, lingering ripple on the glass remains, like disturbed water settling. But the shattering sound upstairs confirms that the anomaly is not confined to this one mirror, this one interaction. It is loose within the house, and the mirrors were just the beginning of its manifestation. The house is silent now, the echoes of the shattered glass upstairs having faded, leaving behind a deep, ringing stillness. The metallic scent is gone, replaced by the faint, acrid smell of dust and something sharp and crystalline, the scent of broken glass. You stand in the hallway, breathing heavily, the encounter with the reflection leaving you feeling hollowed out, like a cleaned bone. The hallway mirror is just glass again, showing your own face, pale and shaken. But the faint, shimmering ripples on its surface are still visible, or perhaps they are just burned into your vision, a phantom image. Upstairs, A window pane is broken, the glass scattered across the floor like frozen tears. The cool night air drifts in through the jagged opening. There is no sign of what caused the break, no object, no stone thrown. It feels less like something breaking in and more like something breaking out. The house no longer hums with tension. It simply is, vast and quiet, holding its secrets close. The psychological residue of the past hours clings to you like a second skin. Every shadow is suspect. Every creak of the house settling sends a jolt of panic through your system. You avoid all reflective surfaces now, carefully navigating rooms by memory, averting your gaze from windows and mirrors alike. The fear hasn't dissipated. It has simply shifted, settling into a low, constant thrum beneath your awareness. Unanswered questions hang in the air like the lingering scent of broken glass. What was the sound in the shower? What did the reflection want? What broke the window? The mirrors, once symbols of self-perception and reality, are now tainted, holding the memory of that impossible face, that unnatural smile. They are no longer just mirrors. They are scars on the house, reminders of a boundary crossed. The thought comes unbidden, a cold whisper in your own voice. Maybe the reflection was just trying to show you how to get out. Or maybe how to let it in. You walk through the quiet house, the floorboards cold beneath your feet. In the periphery of your vision, you catch a flicker of light from the hallway mirror downstairs. You do not look directly at it. The house settles around you, a vast, silent tomb. And if you hear it again tonight, don't answer. Not yet. The subtle sound from the drain, at first merely an annoyance, begins to twist and deepen. It's no longer just a gurgle, but something more intricate, more deliberate. You lean closer, straining your ears, and now you catch it. A faint, distorted whisper woven into the slow, metallic scrape that seems to vibrate from deep within the porcelain or the pipes behind the wall. The sound isn't passive. It feels active, almost purposeful, and your initial unease hardens into a persistent, gnawing frustration. You get down on your knees, pressing your ear against the cool tiles beside the bathtub. You tap gently on the wall, trying to locate a hollow spot, a point of origin. Nothing. The sound seems to shrink, growing fainter the moment you show you are listening, like a shy creature retreating. You stand up, exhaling sharply, and it immediately swells again. The scrape louder now, the whisper a little clearer, though still unintelligible, mocking your failure. You check the pipes under the sink again, running your hand along their cold, curved surfaces. They are dry and solid. Yet near the base of the wall, behind the pipes, you find a patch of inexplicable dampness, cool and slick to the touch, with no visible leak above. A little further along, a localized cold spot chills your fingertips through the plaster, stark against the room's normal temperature. These physical peculiarities offer no explanation for the sound, only amplify the sense that something is fundamentally wrong here, defying simple physics. The sound seems to anticipate your movements, your intentions. When you turn your back, it grows bold. When you face the drain head-on, it becomes coy, almost silent. This perceived sentience is what curdles frustration into genuine fear. You start to doubt your own senses, wondering if you are imagining the variations, if the sound is merely random, and your mind is imposing malicious intent upon it. But the localized cold persists. The damp spot doesn't dry. You find yourself glancing compulsively at the bathroom mirror, or catching your reflection in the polished chrome of the faucet. For a split second, as you turn your head, you think you see movement behind you in the glass, a fleeting shadow, a shape that isn't your own reflection. You whip around, but the room is empty, bathed in the same unchanging light. Yet the feeling of being watched lingers, a prickly sensation on the back of your neck that the mirror seems to confirm, even as it shows you only your own increasingly anxious face. The fear twists into the first tendrils of paranoia. Is the sound meant for you? Is it coming from you? During one frustrated inspection of the drain itself, running your finger along the edge of the metal grate, you catch on something rough. You look closer and find a small, crescent-shaped scratch gouged into the porcelain just beside the drain opening. It's too clean, too deliberate to be accidental wear, and you don't remember seeing it before. It is a tiny, silent detail, a physical mark left behind, suggesting that whatever makes the sound might not be limited to the auditory, that it might be capable of leaving its own mark on the world. It is a silent promise of a problem far deeper than just noise. The whisper seems to deepen its tone then, almost a sigh. It waits, driven by the gnawing unease. The simple fear morphs into a sharp, demanding obsession. You have to know. The house breathes secrets, and the answers must lie deeper than leaking pipes. Your focus shifts from the present mechanics of the sound to the buried past of the structure, the land itself. Hours blur into days, spent hunched over dusty local archives, scrolling through digitized property records, poring over brittle newspaper clippings in the library basement. The air here is thick with the scent of decaying paper and forgotten lives, carrying an ancient cold that seems to seep from the very stone walls. A physical manifestation of the oppressive weight of history. Then you find it, not in a surveyor's report, but in the margin of an old town council minute, a footnote mentioning a troublesome well on the property, long since filled in due to issues of considerable distress. Further digging unearths whispers in local folklore, tales of a family who lived here generations ago, their prosperity tied inexplicably to the well's waters, and their eventual, sudden disappearance after a harsh, waterlogged winter. The rumor speaks of a bargain made, broken, and the waters becoming unquiet. It says they were seen briefly in reflective surfaces before vanishing completely. The sound in the house shifts again. It's no longer just the rhythmic drip, the insistent flow. Now, layered beneath it, is a subtle, horrifying texture. Distorted voices, like whispers pulled through miles of liquid. Too indistinct to decipher, but undeniably present. Sometimes, it's a fragmented melody, mournful and echoing, as if ancient music is struggling to break free from a watery prison. This is the horrifying context the history provides. The sound is not mechanical, not even just a ghostly echo. It feels like a manifestation, a direct consequence of the past unearthed. Your mental state twists. Fear becomes a cold, settling dread. You are not just experiencing something uncanny. You feel targeted. The history wasn't just found. It was waiting to be uncovered. A trap laid centuries ago, now sprung. The reflection motif returns with brutal clarity. That tale of appearances in reflective surfaces chills you to the bone. You find yourself staring into mirrors, into window panes at night, half expecting to see a face ripple into existence within the glass, a face from the historical record now burned into your mind. A name, Eleanor, is mentioned repeatedly in the folklore concerning the well and the disappeared family. It feels less like information and more like a summons, a piece of foreshadowing delivered directly from the grave of the past. The oppressive weight of history settles onto your shoulders, a tangible burden, pressing you deeper into this terrifying inheritance. The distorted voices rise from the plumbing again, and you wonder if Eleanor is among them, calling from the depths of the earth, trapped in the ancient, troubled water. The sound is no longer content to merely echo. It thickens, becomes a presence, a palpable pressure in the air around the shower. It's not just heard now, it is felt. A low hum vibrates in your teeth, a resonance in the bones that feels less like a noise and more like a command. The water's whisper has deepened into something like a voice, though there are no words you can grasp, only the shape of them, the intent. It is a beckoning, intensely personal, a pull like a string, tightening around your chest, guiding you, urging you closer. An irrational compulsion takes root. You find yourself drawn to the bathroom, specifically to the drain, to the shadowed space beneath the house it surely connects to. Hours slip away without notice as you simply sit there, near the porcelain, near the cool tile floor, breathing the damp, heavy air. The air itself feels wrong here now, charged, thick with an unseen energy that makes the hairs on your arms stand on end. It is a physical pull. A weight pressing you down onto the floor, anchoring you to this small, tiled space. Sleep offers no escape. It is invaded by vivid, unsettling dreams. They are not your own dreams, but feel foreign, imposed, full of damp earth, tangled roots, and the unsettling sensation of being watched from below, from within the very walls that hold the plumbing. The reflection in the bathroom mirror is no longer merely your image. It is the entity's canvas, a surface it twists and manipulates. Sometimes your face is subtly elongated, eyes too wide, mouth too thin. Other times, the glass seems to ripple, showing glimpses of something else entirely. A dark, wet space, indistinct shapes shifting in shadow, eyes blinking back at you from behind your own distorted form. The mirror is no longer a passive surface, but an active participant in this descent, a screen broadcasting disturbances, whispering visual lies that feel chillingly true. You begin to see things in the periphery near the shower, slight shimmers, shifts in the air that disappear when you look directly. The line between what is real and what is being shown to you through the reflection, through the thick air, through the dreams, begins to fray. Your thoughts constrict, focused solely on the shower, on the sound, on the pull. Rational objections crumble like dry leaves. This is not curiosity. It is obsession, a singular fixation, fueled by the constant, silent communication from below. There is no room for anything else, and embedded within the constant, resonant hum, the sound begins to sharpen, refining itself into something more articulate. Not words, not yet, but impressions, suggestions, tailored whispers that seem to touch upon your deepest, most hidden fears, your vulnerabilities. The entity knows. It is aware of the places you hide things, the moments you regret, the thoughts you bury. The sound promises understanding, relief, belonging, if only you yield completely to the beckoning current. It is a current that pulls you towards the drain, promising something, revealing horrors in the glass, and whispering truths about yourself you thought were long forgotten. And you feel yourself sinking into its flow, the edges of your sanity blurring, becoming indistinguishable from the damp shadows reflected back at you. Welcome to the eerie hour. Some places don't just haunt you, they wait. They settle into the quiet corners of your life, a low hum beneath the surface of the everyday. This house specifically has a history that breathes through its walls, a secret kept sealed behind peeling paint and rusted fixtures. It began subtly, a peculiar vibration felt more than heard, emanating from the old plumbing deep within the house's core, a low, resonant thrum that seeped into the floorboards, up the legs of chairs, and into the bones. It wasn't a mechanical fault. It was too rhythmic, too present. It felt deliberate, like a pulse beneath stone. You tried to ignore it at first, the way you ignore the persistent fly in the room or the drip that never quite stops. But the hum grew, a subtle insistency that began to erode the edges of your focus. It drew your attention to the large, built-in cabinet in the main hall, the one housing the access panel for the oldest section of pipes. Dust motes danced in the single shaft of light slicing through the room, illuminating the forgotten stillness of the space. There was a mirror on the wall opposite the cabinet, large and framed in dark, heavy wood, reflecting the quiet decay of the hall. You caught your own reflection sometimes as you passed, a stranger caught in amber light, drawn slowly, inevitably, towards the sound. The house waited, the hum pulsed, and the mirror watched. If you enjoyed descending into the strange and the forgotten, don't forget to like and subscribe and share your theories below. Now let's begin. But remember, once the story starts, something always follows. The hum from the pipes has become a constant companion, a low thrumming in the air that vibrates in your chest. It's no longer just a sound, it's a physical presence, a dull pressure behind the eyes. You find yourself standing before the old cabinet more often, fingers tracing the cool, smooth surface of the painted wood. The air here smells faintly of damp earth and something else, something stagnant and sweet, like forgotten flowers in stagnant water. Inside the cabinet, the pipe access panel is a rectangle of darker wood, sealed tight. You press an ear against it, and the hum intensifies, feeling less like a vibration and more like a muffled murmur just on the edge of audibility. It feels wrong, not broken, but alive in a way that plumbing should not be. The reflection in the large mirror across the hall seems dimmer now, the room within it subtly distorted, as if the glass is rippling despite its stillness. Your own face in the mirror is a mask of growing fatigue and obsession, eyes wide and fixated on the cabinet. You try to turn away, to walk back into the ordinary rooms of the house, but the hum holds you tethered. It feels like a thread pulling at your mind, a quiet suggestion that the source isn't just a pipe, but something else, something that wants to be heard. The longer you stand there, the more the mirror seems to draw the light away from the rest of the hall, focusing it, strangely, on your own captured image. You notice a subtle shift in your reflection, a flicker, a moment where your expression doesn't quite match your own, a fleeting, unnerving stillness. The house hums, the scent thickens, and the mirror holds your gaze a beat too long. The need to understand the sound has grown from curiosity into a sharp, consuming ache. It's all you think about. Sleep offers no escape. The hum is a phantom limb vibrating in the darkness. You find yourself gathering tools, a screwdriver, a small pry bar, the actions feeling both alien and disturbingly natural. The air around the cabinet is noticeably colder now, a pocket of chill that doesn't dissipate with the house's heating. You kneel before the access panel, the scent of damp and decay stronger here, almost tangible. The panel feels cold beneath your fingertips, humming faintly against your skin. As you begin to work the screwdriver into the seam, a low scraping sound joins the hum, not from the tool, but from within the panel, mirroring your movements. It's like fingernails dragging across stone, slow and deliberate. A wave of nausea washes over you, a sudden dizzying fear that makes your hands tremble. This isn't just old pipes. This is something trying to get out, or perhaps trying to lure you in. You glance up at the mirror reflexively, and your reflection isn't working the screwdriver. It's just kneeling there, staring straight ahead with an unnerving, vacant intensity. The scraping stops when you pause, resumes when you continue. The mirror reflects a stranger. The panel groans with an answering sound, and the cold bites deep. You have to see. Preparation feels futile, yet necessary. You move through the house like a ghost, gathering a flashlight, gloves, anything that feels like protection against the unknown. The house itself seems to resist. Floorboards creak underfoot where they never did before. Shadows lengthen and writhe in peripheral vision. The hum is everywhere now, not just from the pipes, but woven into the very fabric of the air. It feels like a suffocating presence, pressing in from all sides. The scent of decay has spread too, a sickly sweet thickness that clings to your clothes and skin. You catch sight of yourself in a small mirror in the hallway, and for a terrifying moment, the reflection is weeping, silent tears carving paths through dust on its cheeks, while your own eyes are dry. Doubt pierces the fog of obsession. Why are you doing this? What dark impulse drives you towards the undeniable dread radiating from that hidden space? But the thought is fleeting, quickly overwhelmed by the relentless pull of the sound, the scraping, the waiting. It feels less like a choice and more like destiny, a narrative you are compelled to follow to its terrifying conclusion. Every reflective surface seems to watch you, distorting your image, whispering silent questions you can't quite parse. You are moving towards the cabinet, towards the source, and the house holds its breath, a silent witness to your inevitable descent. The mirrors blur, the air tastes of rot, and you are no longer sure whose will guides your steps. The panel gives way with a splintering crack, revealing not pipes, but a dark, yawning cavity. The sound explodes outward, a cacophony of whispers, gurgles, and that persistent, terrible scraping, amplified beyond endurance. The air here is thick, suffocatingly damp, and the stench of decay is overwhelming, a physical blow to the senses. Your flashlight beam cuts through the darkness, revealing a space far larger than it should be, a cramped, irregular chamber lined with something slick and dark, like polished obsidian or wet coal. The hum vibrates through the floor, up your legs, into your skull, drowning thought. And then you see them. Not pipes, but surfaces. The walls of the cavity aren't stone. They are made of countless fragmented mirrors, shards of glass fitted together imperfectly, reflecting the single beam of your flashlight into 1,000 fractured images. Your own face stares back at you from every angle, distorted, multiplied, terrified. And within those countless reflections, you see it. Not a single form, but a shifting, parasitic presence that writhes just behind the mirrored surfaces. Glimpsed in slivers and fragments, it manifests through your own reflections, a hand reaching out from the glass, a face contorted in agony where yours should be, eyes that aren't your own staring from a familiar socket. Sensory overload hits like a wave, the sound, the smell, the overwhelming visual chaos. Memories, fragmented and alien, flash through your mind. Water, darkness, being trapped, being taken. Your reflection in the central shards begins to warp, features elongating, skin seeming to ripple. A terrifying loss of self as the thing in the mirrors attempts to claim your image, your form, your consciousness. The air is ice. The whispers are names, yours, and every reflection is a trap. You are face to face with the horror, and it wears your face. You don't remember retreating, only the cold shock of the floorboards beneath your back, the flashlight dropped somewhere in the hall. The humming is gone, replaced by a ringing silence in your ears, punctuated only by the ragged sound of your own breathing. The scent of decay lingers, an invisible film coating your tongue and throat. The cabinet stands closed, somehow sealed again, silent and innocuous. Was it real? The shards of memory remain, sharp and alien. The cold water, the dark, the faces in the glass that looked like yours but were not. The terror has receded, leaving behind a profound emptiness, a hollowness where something vital used to be. You look at the large mirror across the hall. It's just a mirror. Dust motes dance in the light. The reflections are just reflections. Yet you avoid meeting your own eyes, a deep-seated unease settling in your gut. The house is quiet now, the unnerving stillness of a space that has shared its secret and is waiting to see what you will do with it. The mirroring motif feels different now, not just a symbol, but a scar left on your perception. Every flat surface seems to shimmer slightly. Every shadowed corner seems to hold a fleeting image just outside of vision. The unanswered questions sit heavy in the silence. What was in the mirrors? What did it want? And did you truly escape, or did you leave a part of yourself behind? The quiet is a new kind of unsettling, the silence of a predator after the hunt. And if you hear it again tonight, don't answer. Not yet. The sound is gone now. The water has ceased its endless drumming, leaving behind a silence that feels heavier, more suffocating than the noise ever was. You are left in the aftermath, shivering in the stillness. Physically, you are untouched, yet the cold seeps into your bones from within. Psychologically, the stain is permanent. It hasn't just left, it has integrated itself, clinging to the hidden corners of your mind. The house itself feels wrong. Not just the bathroom where the terror unfolded. The air is thick with unspoken dread, and every shadow seems to hold its breath. You avoid mirrors now. The reflection motif is a source of constant, paralyzing fear. You catch glimpses in polished surfaces, not your own face, but something indistinct, fleeting, yet deeply familiar and horrifying. Or perhaps it's just your own altered state staring back, the horror reflected in your vacant eyes. There are gaps in your memory, like pages ripped from a book, replaced by fragmented, terrifying visions that loop without context. Was it real? A descent into madness? The question cycles endlessly. A new kind of torture. You feel watched, a prickling sensation on your skin, even in empty rooms. Something attached itself to you. You know it. Invisible threads pulling at your thoughts. The horror has not ended. It has simply shifted its location, becoming a parasite in your own consciousness. The silence is not peace. It is just the sound of the waiting. And if you hear it again tonight, don't answer. Not yet.